has renamed himself. That is okay. Thank you for live streaming our admin. Thank you so much. So members, without wasting time, let's begin by opening prayer. Let's have someone to lead us into the opening prayer. Let me get someone to lead us into the opening prayer. Someone who is ready can put up their hands. Okay, so I see people are ready, but some of you have ever prayed for us. Today I want to get someone else. We have Elga. Yes, Elga, can you lead us into the opening prayer?
Mighty Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for the gift of life. We thank you for everything. We pray that as we are going into this lesson, pray that you may give us the gift of knowledge and wisdom and understanding, so that if we master what they teach us, we can you. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, so that is good. So we really not to forget to thank our people who are behind this program. We really like to thank them so much. The Christian School Owners Association Uganda. They are the one organizing this program. They have organized this program. That's why all the learners and in all levels, we are able to reach them. This program is being sponsored. So on behalf of the parents, on behalf of the schools, it is being sponsored by Edify Uganda. The program is implemented by technical team, an organization called ETAU. ETAU is ICT Teachers Association of Uganda. So we are talking about the technology. So ETAU is behind the technology. All the technologies that we are using, ETAU is behind it. So all this, we really appreciate them. We appreciate our sponsors. We appreciate our organizers and the implementers. We thank God for you, and may God grant you long live so that we can continue helping Ugandans, continue helping the world, and so forth. So thank you so much. I welcome you to P6 Science. This is our second lesson. Today is Wednesday, 15th September 2021. I am Tony Akenya. I teach mathematics and science. So you can find me down there is my contact, and also my email is there. So that's where you can find me in case of any question. I've been seeing some people here trying to ask some question. That is okay. Yes. Okay, so members, we are going to go ahead, but before we go to what we are going to learn, we really need to first think about what we learned last time. Just to give some few recap on what we learned last time. Just need to welcome someone here to tell us what we learned last time. Yes, Amanda, what did we learn last time in science? Amanda? Sorry, Amanda, yes?
Yes, teacher.
What did we learn in science last time?
Yes, teacher, I wasn't there for that lesson.
Okay, so I can see some answers from the chat, like
Teacher,
Usasira, Dorcas has said we learned about distillation. Very good, Dorcas. Yes, members, some of the responses are coming in the chat. That is okay. So Dorcas has said we learned about distillation. Even Ellie has also said we learned about distillation. Oh, so many people, even Amanda. Okay, Omara Tendo. Thank you, members. So that is what we looked at last time. We talked about distillation. This is still under method of obtaining safe and clean water for drinking. We are still in our first topic, but we are almost summarizing. So therefore, what is distillation? What do we understand by the word distillation? What is distillation? Anyone who knows what distillation is? Anyone who can still remember what distillation is? Very good. Yes, Clever, can I hear from you? What is distillation?
Distillation is a method of obtaining pure water from impure water.
Very good. Distillation is the method used in obtaining pure water from impure water. So impure water here is water which has some impurities. So when it is subjected through distillation, the impure water, we shall just obtain what we call distilled water. So we have some questions. For example, I said, what scientific name is given to water obtained through distillation? What scientific name is given to water obtained through distillation? Yes. Okay. Some of you are still defining what distillation is. Now, my next question is, yes, I can see Dorcas has said distillate, John has said distillate, some are saying distilled water. Thank you. So the scientific name, that water that we get through distillation, we call it distillate. Now, the only mistake I got there was the spelling when I was marking. Some of you were not writing the correct spelling of distillate. For example, Claire has spelled it correctly in the chat. Even Julu has also spelled it correctly. So let me have someone now to repeat. Let me get Claire to give us that spelling that she has given in the chat. Okay, Claire, can you give us that spelling? Okay, Claire. Claire, can you give us that spelling?
Yes, teacher.
Give us the spelling of distillate. Claire, what are you saying?
Hello.
No, Claire, you have some noise. Claire, sorry, you have some noise. Let me get. Okay, so Claire, let me get someone else. I don't know whether you are the one. Travis, can you give us the spelling of distillate? Travis?
D-I-N.
Begin. You start afresh. Travis? Okay. Okay. Let me get Travis again. Okay, Travis, can you unmute and give us the spelling of distillate? Someone is trying to disorganize us using the volume. Okay, so I think members, if you have, okay, Travis. Okay, Travis is not able to unmute. Let's go to Tracy. Just give us the spelling of distillate. Tracy. Okay, so I'm going to get someone who has written it correctly in the chat, like Omara. Yes, Omara Tendo, you come on and give us the spelling. I saw in your chat you have written it correctly. Omara Tendo.
Yes, teacher.
Give us the spelling of distillate.
Distillate. D
Mm.
I S T I L L A T E. Distillate.
Very good. So that is the word distillate. So members of P6, when I was marking this work, most of you were writing with a single L. You were not writing LL. Most of you were writing single L. So when you're giving the word distillate, it is D-I-S-T-I-L-L-A-T-E, distillate. So that is the spelling, the correct spelling of the word distillate. So members who are trying to chat with me, things which are not the answers, I'm seeing whatever you are saying. Anyway, I've left the chat. The chat is only from me to you. Okay, you are responding to me and I will be able to see. Nobody is seeing your chat. It is only me who is the co-host and the host who is seeing the what? Your chat. So members, let's go ahead and look at what we are going to learn today. What are we going to learn today? Yes, so this is what we are going to look at today. Okay, I hope you people, you are able to see my heading. What are we going to look at today? Okay, are you able to see my heading? Okay, let me ask some few people like Lay, are you able to see my heading?
Yes.
Okay, can you read that heading?
Treating water.
Very good. So that is what we are going to discuss right now. In this lesson, we are going to look at how water is treated. Okay, so we are going to look at this into detail. So remember, at the beginning, we talked about methods of obtaining clean water, and also we talked about methods of obtaining safe water. So when we talk about safe water, it is water which is free from germs. So we said we can obtain safe water through boiling and also through treating using chemicals. So we have already looked at boiling water, and we said it is the best method and the easiest method of treating, of obtaining safe water. Now let's also go and look at treating water today. Yes, what do I mean when I talk about treating water? So treating water, this is the addition of harmless chemicals in clean water to make it safe for drinking. This is addition. This is where we add. Let me try to write it down there. We are saying when we talk about water treatment or treating water, this is the addition of harmless chemicals in clean water to make it safe for drinking. So that's what it means by treating water, adding chemicals, but we are talking about harmless chemicals. Okay. Now, let me again clarify from those who are writing in the chat. I'm not going to mention your name. Let's also first focus on what we are going to what we are learning right now. Because if you start asking me about the exams, doing exams, it will not be easy for me to respond to some of those other questions. Let's first focus on the lessons that we are learning right now. So members, this is what it means by treating water. So here, like if you look at in Uganda, National Water and Sewerage Corporation, treats, tests, and supplies water to urban areas, to people who are living in towns. In Uganda, that is the body that is responsible for supplying treated water. So we are saying that in Uganda, National Water and Sewerage Corporation, which you can call it NWSC in short form, but N stands for National, W here stands for Water, S here stands for Sewerage, and then C stands for Corporation. They can ask you to write this in full. So once they ask you to write this in full, it is National Water and Sewerage Corporation. So they are responsible for treating water, testing it, and supplying that safe water to people in urban area. Okay, so these chemicals which are added in water, they are used to kill germs. So once they add the chemicals, that chemical kills germs. So once it kills germs, it means the water now becomes free for from germs, and you can be able to drink it because it is safe. Are we together? So that is what it means by treating water. Yes. So here we are saying that the chemicals can be used to treat water. They use that harmless chemicals, which we are going to look at some of the chemicals, and some of you already know these chemicals. So these chemicals are used to kill germs. So once they kill germs, it means that water now is safe for what? For drinking. Now, can you give me some of the examples of chemicals that they? Yes, somebody is writing for me, National Water and Sewerage Corporation in full. Now let's give some of the chemicals that are used, that we use in treating water. What are these chemicals that we use in treating water? Dennis? Mutebi Dennis? Can you give me one example? I see people are writing the answers, like Travis has said chlorine, Elga has said chlorine in the chat. Okay, and then also the spelling, you should check the spelling of chlorine. When we come to giving the answer, we shall give. Somebody has said water guard. Yes, I'm interested in water guard because when I set the examination last time, some of you were saying safeguard. So, and I was marking you seriously wrong, because when you talk of safeguard, I don't understand the meaning of safeguard. When is it added to water? Okay, so let's continue. Let us continue. This is enough. This is enough, but let's hear from others. At least some of you have given the answer. Let's hear from Clever. Yes, Clever, can you give us one?
Water guard.
We have water guard. We shall be able to explain. Okay, here we are just naming the chemicals. Let's hear from Kiden. Do you know any chemical which is added to water for treating water?
Chlorine.
We have chlorine. Very good. We have chlorine. Dennis, you didn't talk, but you are on. Mutebi.
Yes.
Can you give us another one? Someone clever has said water guard. Esther has said chlorine. How about you, Dennis? Do you know any other chemical
No.
that is added?
No, I don't know. They're all
Okay, but now have you known that we add chemicals like chlorine? So
yes.
like there are some chlorine tablets that can be added to water, and it kills germs and make that water safe for drinking. David, do you know another one? Okay, so it seems most of us, we know those two chemicals that we add in water. So let me try to list them down, whatever you have been saying. We have chemicals used for treating water. Number one, somebody talked of chlorine. That is good. We have chlorine, which is added in water, and it helps to kill germs, hence making water safe for drinking. We have also iodine. It is also added to water. We also have calcium chloride. We have calcium chloride. And then water guard. My girl has said water guard. I think I have to add it there. My girl here, Clever, said water guard. Very good, Clever. Very good, Clever. So when we talk about water guard, yes, if you look at it, it is in a container. Let me try to get for you water guard. Let me try to get for you water guard that we most people use in homes. These are majorly used in homes. Sometimes it is diluted. Okay, sometimes it is diluted one. They are in bottles. Some of them are tablets. Okay, I just wanted to get one which I had it on my screen. Let me see whether it's there. The water guard, which I had it on my screen. Okay, so that you can be able to see. Now, others, they are in form of tablets. You can see here. Okay, so this one here is diluted. Okay, it can be diluted sodium hypochlorite solution, which is used to treat water in the household. Majorly, you can go and buy this water guard, and you come and mix it with your water, and then it will be able to kill germs in water, and then you drink it. So these are some of the chemicals. I hope you have ever seen them, because you have given me that answer, meaning that you have ever used them at home. Clever, have you ever used it at home? Clever? Yes, Clever.
Yes, teacher.
Hey, you have ever used at home, eh? So those are some of the chemicals that are added in water. Now, there is something that I want you to note. For example, at the beginning, we said that National Water and Sewerage Corporation treats water, tests it, and supplies safe water to people in urban areas. Now, this water is taken through pipes. Okay, it is treated. That means in the process of treating it, it is now free from germs and it is safe. But now, as it goes through the pipes, you know there are leakages on the way. Pipes get broken. Pipes get the cracks, and water at the end, water is contaminated. So once you have tap water in your homes, don't say that Teacher Tony has said this tap water is already treated by National Water and Sewerage Corporation. Yes, it is treated, but the process of them pumping through the pipe to come to your homes, there may be some problems on the road. You have ever seen pipe getting broken on the road and water flowing outside? So such pipes makes water to get contaminated. So therefore, in my note here, I'm telling you that tap water should first be boiled before drinking, because it gets contaminated through the pipes and the storage. Even where they are storing from, it can be contaminated. So that is one thing you need to know. Now, I want us to go into details of water. Let's look at the advantages. The disadvantages. What are the disadvantages of using chemicals for treating water? Boiling is the best one, as we said. Yes, treating water can be done, especially where the population is too high, like in towns. okay, for large water supply, where they are supplying water in large quantity, like in town, then treating becomes easy. The National Water and Sewerage Corporation cannot boil water for everyone who is staying in town. So the best thing they can do, because they are supplying water in large quantity, they have to treat that water so that they can supply at once to people. So therefore, let's try to look at some of the disadvantages of using chemicals before we go and look at how we can purify our water. Okay, so what are some of the disadvantages of using chemical, if you may give some answers? So for those of you who are having the answers, can write for me in the chat. Okay, for those of you who are having the answers, can write for me. You can give me some of the disadvantages of using chemicals for treating water, if you know any. Okay, is there anyone who knows any? Let me try to ask. Yes, those whose hands are up. Travis, you told me you had just joined. I hope now you have settled in the lesson. Can you give me one disadvantage of using chemical, Travis?
Teacher, some chemicals can be bad to human health. Teacher.
Yes.
Some chemicals may be bad to human health.
Some chemicals may be bad to human health. Now here we are talking of, we add chemicals which are not bad to human health. When they are adding chemicals in water, when they are treating water, they use the harmless chemicals. Harmless, meaning it cannot harm your body. And that's why National Water and Sewerage Corporation, they first test it. They test that water to make sure it is harmless. But still, it has the disadvantages. Okay. Otherwise, thank you, Travis, for trying. Yes. Some chemicals can be harmless. Okay. Okay. So let's get another person to try also. Assumpta, can you try? Yes.
Some chemicals have a bad smell.
Your volume is very low. Can you try to speak louder?
Some chemicals have a bad smell.
You are giving a correct answer, but the volume is low. Very good, Kabogo. Very good, Kabogo has said. Okay, Kabogo has given us a correct answer, but very many answers are flowing in and making this one to run very fast. Oh, some of you are saying they are dangerous. Very good. Esther is saying chemicals are expensive. Some people can't afford. Very good, Esther. Let me write that answer Esther has said. That chemicals are expensive to buy by most homes. Very good. Yes, chemicals are expensive to buy for most homes. Yes, most home cannot afford, just like the way Esther said it in the chat. They are expensive. So what you can do, you can boil water. If you cannot afford to buy these chemicals like the chlorine tablets, the water guard, if you don't have money to buy because it is expensive, then go for another option. Thank you, Esther, for giving that wonderful answer in the chat. Fiona and saying, very good, Fiona. There is someone who said that the chemicals change the nature or the appearance of water. Very good. That is Rodney. Rodney said some chemical change the nature, the color of the water. You people, you are giving very wonderful answers. Very wonderful answers. I can write that chemicals change the nature appearance of water. Remember, we said water is colorless, but once you add chemicals to it, it will change the color. That is the disadvantage. That is the disadvantage. Very good. Now, I'm going to see those who are saying in the chat to just give us that answer that they are writing in the chat. Very good. Okay, someone is saying is allergic to some people are allergic to some chemicals. Oh, members, this is enough. Let's go to, let me get this girl to give us the correct answer also. Okay, Elizabeth, can you give us what you have written in the chat? Elizabeth? Elizabeth?
Chemicals add some color to the water.
It adds some colors to the water. That one we have already written. There is somebody who wrote this in the chat. I think I didn't capture the name properly.
Chemicals add smell to the water.
Chemicals make water smelly. Okay. Chemicals make water smelly. I think you have ever tested water which is treated. For example, if you have ever taken water which is mixed with the water guard, is it having some smells? Let me hear from you. For me, I have not taken, but let me hear from some of you. Have you taken water which they have added water guard? Yes. Clever, you said you took it. David, you said you took it. Can you tell us? Can you confirm to us? David? Okay, David?
Yes, teacher.
Is it smelly? When you add chemical like water guard, does it smell, Priscilla?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, so
Yes.
that is a disadvantage. That is a disadvantage. It's a disadvantage to water that we are taking. So it makes water smelly. Water can smell, and some of those smells are not good for some of us. Okay. Yes, Bismarck. Okay, so members, let's continue. Our time is also running. Yet I still have some few things that I have to explain to you ahead there. So also chemicals make water tasty. Remember when we started this at the beginning, we say water is tasteless. It does not have the taste. Okay, at the beginning of this topic, we said water is tasteless, water is colorless. That is what we said. But once you add chemical to this water, it will be tasty. It will be tasty. So these are some of the disadvantages, and the good thing, these disadvantages are given by you. Like Lena said, chemical change the taste of water, which I said makes water tasty. Esther Kamia also has said that chemical make water tasty. Thank you, members. This shows that I'm discussing these questions with the people who know. Okay, I'm teaching people who. So let's just end there for the disadvantages. This one is saying chemical make. I think you are saying chemical make water contaminated. Okay, the chemicals that they are adding in water, it is best for treating water. So it does not contaminate the water. What it does is just it kills the germs which are in water. So the germs which are in water, the chemicals you are adding there kills the germs. So therefore, it does not contaminate what? It does not contaminate water. Now, I want us to go and now look at, like for example, in Uganda here, the major water treatment plant is at Gaba, for those of you who stays in Kampala. So the major water treatment plant is at Gaba, and the water from the treatment plant is pumped to a certain destination, which is then distributed to parts of the, it is distributed to other parts of urban areas using what? Using pipes. So now what I want us to look at is the stages. Okay, this is what I want us to look at right now. The stages in purification of water. Water purification is what I want us to study. Okay. Now, this one has just said in the chat that how do they call it? So I have not understood how they call whatever you are saying. When you say how it, what do you mean? You need to be specific if you are writing something in the chat so that we can be able to respond to a specific question. Yeah, so now we are looking at stages of water purification. And some of you have started giving. Someone is saying, my network is breaking. I hope that I'm now clear. Members, am I clear now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I think sometime when you hear the network breaking, it may be, sometime if you hear the network breaking, it may be like maybe your network, okay? So you should also check on your network because it can disorganize your lessons. So now, let's look at the stages in purification of water. When I talk about purification, what do I mean? Purification, water purification is the process of removing undesirable chemicals, biological contaminants, things that contaminate water, and then the suspended solids from water. So purification is the removal of what you don't want from water. For example, there are some chemicals that may be in water. Secondly, there may be suspended solids, okay, the impurities. So you can subject water to what we are calling purification. So this is where water treatment is done, like for large water supplies. For example, I told you that in Uganda, the major water treatment plant is at Gaba. So this is where they treat water, but it goes through these stages. So we have about 4 stages. Yes, we have about 4 stages of water purification. And then from there, you obtain safe water, which can now be supplied to other parts of the urban areas. So let us look at those stages. And some people were giving me the stages in the chat. Let me be able to see those who are giving me the stages in the chat. You can be able to send your responses. You can be able to send your responses in the chat. Okay. Okay, so yes. Somebody is saying Kampala. What do you mean by Kampala? Is it one of the stages? Okay. Elizabeth has said filtration. Okay, I'm going to read whatever you are writing there. Okay, chlorination, sedimentation, that is Casper, David, filtration. So most of you now are repeating the same thing, the middle stage, screening, filtration. So members, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Let me first end it there. Okay, let me first end it there. So somebody is talking about decantation. Now, in this stage of purification, decantation is no longer done here. So these are the stages. One, we have what we call screening. That is stage number 1 in purification of water. Then from there, we go to sedimentation. Those are the stages. From screening, it goes to sedimentation. Then after sedimentation, water is then filtered. That is filtration. And the last stage where now water can be made safe for drinking, the last stage is now called chlorination. These are the 4 stages of water purification. Members, can you name the 4 stages of water purification? Can I hear some of you naming the 4 stages of water purification? 1, we have. Yes.
Screening.
Very good.
Sedimentation.
Sedimentation, very good.
Filtration.
Filtration and
Chlorination.
chlorination. Okay, we are going to look at the meaning of all these words. Don't worry. What I wanted you to know is to understand that when you are going to treat water, for example, for the large supplies, these are the stages where water goes through. Okay, these are the stages of purifying water. So I told you that water purification is the process of removing undesirable chemicals, biological contaminants, suspended solids. These are some of the things that are in water, suspended solids. And then you remove it from water, but it has to go through these 4 stages. Stage number 1, there must be what we call screening. Stage number 2 is sedimentation. And then stage number 3, water goes through filtration. Then after filtration, it then now goes through chlorination. Now, let us see this in diagram form, how it is done for large water supplies. How is it done? So let's look at the diagram showing stages of purification of water. So let's look at this diagram. So this is what I was trying to tell you. I told you that the first stage is called screening. Now look at this. Look at this diagram carefully. Members, are you seeing this diagram? Members, are you seeing the diagram?
Yes,
Members,
teacher.
are you seeing the diagram?
Yes, teacher.
Okay. So now this is where I'm going to explain those stages. This is where I'm going to explain those stages that we talked about. I talked about 4 stages. 1, I talked of screening. 2, I talked of sedimentation. 3, I talked of filtration. And 4, I talked of chlorination. Okay, so those are the 4 stages. Now, stage number 1, you see, water is being drawn from the river. They have got water from the river here. So water from the river comes through this pipe, and it is then pumped into this tank. So in this tank is where screening is done. So what do I mean when I talk about screening now? Screening is the removal of solid floating materials from water. Screening, here they remove the solid floating. When I talk about floating, is materials that float on water, that remains on top of water. It is removed from the screening tank. So when they remove it here, then this water is then led through this pipe to the sedimentation tank. Now, what is done in the sedimentation tank? Or what is the meaning of sedimentation? Sedimentation is the removal of impurities by allowing large particles to settle at the bottom of the tank. So in this case, there are some chemicals which are also added in this sedimentation here. Sedimentation tank, there are some chemicals which are added here. So these chemicals which they add here, its work is just to allow, or its work is just to make the particles stick together. So there are some particles, there are some chemicals which are added here just to allow the impurities to stick together such that it can settle at the bottom of the water. So now from here, once those solid particles are settled at the bottom of water, then water is then led again to another tank. Okay, from here, water is led to another tank. Now, there are some particles that may escape to this tank. So from here, what happens now, after the sedimentation, it is now followed by filtration. So this filtration now, it now filtered water. There are now two tanks here. There is this one and there is this one. So filtration now is done here. So now that means the water that is going to come out through this filtered tank, the water which will come out from here will be clean water. Clean water. Okay? The clear water now will come to this tank. Now in this tank is where chlorination is done. In this tank is where chlorination is done. So chlorination now is the addition of chlorine in the correct amount to kill the what? To kill the germs that contaminates water. So now, remember, when water is going to flow through these processes, germs will not die. What they will do, here they will remove the floating materials. In the sedimentation, they will allow the large particles of solid, of material to settle at the bottom. Then now from here, the filtration now is done to remove the impurities such that clear water comes to this tank. Now, once clear water comes to this tank, they will now do what we call chlorination. So chlorination now is the addition of chlorine in its correct amount to kill germs that are contained in water. So once they add chlorination here, now this water become now safe. So this water from the chlorination plant, it now goes to the water tower. Okay, this is now where they store. This is now the storage. Okay, now they store here. Safe water is now here. Water is then now pumped through the pipe here. Okay, the safety water is now pumped through this pipe, and now it is taken to different destinations. So water from this tank now can go to the factories, it can go to the homes or houses. This is now where you get tap water. Now, in the process here, this water is underground. Okay, this pipe is underground. And sometimes some pipe underground get some leakage. It gets some damage. That is where maybe water can be again contaminated. So which means you are supposed to make sure you boil the water that comes in your homes. Because from the water tower, it is safe. But once it is pumped now through this pipe to go to different homes, now the pipes can get broken on the way. And once it gets broken, the water can be contaminated. So you are supposed to boil it again. And yet from here, the National Water and Sewerage Corporation has tested it and found that it is safe. But only that through the pipe here, it will be contaminated. So members, this is the processes of water purification. One, the first stage we say it is screening. What is done in the screening tank? Here they remove the particles, the floating particles. Okay, screening is the removal of solid particles that are floating on this water. Then from here, it is then led to this tank. This tank is where they are saying sedimentation tank. Now, sedimentation here, it is the removal of the impurities by allowing large particles to settle at the bottom of the tank. So here they allow large particles to settle at the bottom of the tank. But what is done here also, they add some chemicals. So the chemicals which they add in the sedimentation tank is to make the particles in water stick together, forming large particles. So the chemical, like for example, they can add what we call aluminum sulfate, or sometimes people call it alum. So they add that chemicals here to help the solid particles stick together. So once they are settled at the bottom of this tank, then water is then pumped through to another tank. Now in this tank, this is now where filtration is done. Okay. So now here water is filtered out, leaving out clear water now to flow to the chlorination chlorination plant. So this is the chlorination plant where chlorine is added to kill germs. The chlorine chemical is added here now to kill germs. So once this water now becomes safe, then it is now pumped to this tank, which we are calling it the water tower. Water tower here now, it has safe water, which is now then pumped to other parts of the places, different parts of places like houses, factories. So these are the stages of filtration. Okay. This is the stage of purification. So members, I hope you have understood those 4 stages. Okay. Have you understood those 4 stages? Okay. So let me try to put for you the meaning of those stages that we talked about down. I have just been explaining, but some of you are good at seeing. Okay, some of you are good at seeing. So here, when we talk about screening, is the removal of solid floating materials from the water. So you have seen the tank there. So in that tank, which we are calling it the screening tank, they remove the solid floating material. Floating here means material that remain on top of water. It is removed from the screening tank. Then after that, that water is then led to what we call the sedimentation tank. In the sedimentation tank, it is now the removal of impurities by allowing solid particles to settle at the bottom of the tank. Now, I told you in this stage, some chemicals are added. Okay? In this stage, some chemicals are added. Okay?
How can you disable disappearing messages?
Okay. So here, there are some chemicals which are added in the water. What is the use of this ferrous sulfate and alum? I said this is aluminum sulfate, but you can call it alum. So this chemical is added to water. Its work is to make the particles in water stick together. Okay. Okay. Someone is there. Okay. So in this case, I said the chemicals which are added in the sedimentation tank, it is used to make the particles which are there stick together so that they can go to the bottom of the tank. Then from there, it is where now, so if you look at the point here, this chemical does not kill what? Does not kill germs. In sedimentation, in the sedimentation tank, there is nothing like killing germs. That is just to remove the impurities. They just remove the impurities from the sedimentation tank. So members, these are some of the meaning of sedimentation screening, which you need to take note of. Okay. If they ask you to define what screening is, are you able to define it? Okay. If they ask you to define what
Teacher.
sedimentation is, are you able to
teacher.
define it?
Yes, teacher. Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So let us continue a bit. I want to explain to you also the meaning of chlorination, because I was just talking. Some of you believe by seeing, but before we go to that, we have another stage which I didn't write, and that is filtration. So here, you know, I told you that after sedimentation, it is followed by filtration, where large particles are filtered, okay? So here, sedimentation is followed by filtration, where large particles are filtered out, leaving out clear water. So after the filtration, we shall now get clear water, okay? After the filtration, we shall get clear water. Then from the filtered tank, what are we going to get? From the filtered tank, we are going to chlorination. So what is chlorination, members? What is chlorination? I've been saying it in our in my explanation. What is chlorination, Jacinta?
Towns to villages. Yes, teacher.
Yes, what is chlorination? Chlorination. Anyone to define for us what chlorination is? Yes, if your hand is up. Okay. Yes, Keith, what is chlorination? Even Jude is there, Avan is there, can define for us. Dennis is there. What is chlorination?
Chlorination is
Chlorination is the addition of chlorine to water to make it safe for drinking.
How does it make it safe for drinking?
It kills germs.
It kills germs. Very good. So when you are defining it now, instead of saying to make it safe for drinking, you can say addition of chlorine in the water to kill germs. Yes. So that is the meaning of chlorination. Can everyone say what our friend has said? I can't hear you.
Chlorination is the addition of chlorine in its correct amount to kill germs contained in water.
Very good. Can you repeat?
Chlorination is the addition of chlorine in its correct amount to kill germs contained in water. Yeah.
So in that stage, water now is made safe for drinking. Are you getting me?
Yes, teacher.
Yeah, so in that stage, water is now made safe for drinking. So that's why I'm saying this makes the water safe for drinking, because now that chlorine has killed what? Has killed the germs which is in water. Okay. Now,
yes, teacher.
I've already explained to you all this. We said now water passes to a big reservoir or the tank. You saw the water tower. Okay, in our diagram, I said water tower. It is the storage now. So from the water tower, which we are saying the tank or the reservoir, where now water is being treated, it is being stored. In Uganda, I mean in Kampala here, when water is treated from Gaba, it is then pumped to a certain place called, let me try to remember, Muyenga. Yes, it is pumped to Muyenga Tank Hill, and then it is distributed to other places. So the treatment of water there goes through those stages we have said. Then once they treat it with chlorine, now water is then now taken to Muyenga Tank Hill, which it is stored there. So from there, it is distributed to other parts. Like where I'm staying, there is tap water. Where you are staying, if you are within here, there is tap water. So it is now from the reservoir tank. Okay. Then from there, it should be well covered. That tank should be well covered to prevent recontamination. So it should be well covered to prevent recontamination. And in that stage, they can now pump through the pipes into homes and factories. So this is what we have been explaining. So otherwise, those are the stages of water purification. So that is what I have organized to discuss with you today. But one thing you need to know is, what do we understand by treating water? What does it mean when we talk about treating water? Can I hear from some few of you? Jude, what does it mean when we talk about treating water? Jude, David? Yes, treating water? Yes? Yes? Sebulime? Akim? Okay, who can recall what it means by treating water? Okay, there is Dorcas. Yes, Dorcas, what does it mean?
Treating water is the addition of harmless chemicals in clean water to make it safe for drinking.
Very good. The harmless chemical, the addition of harmless chemical in clean water to make it safe for drinking. Okay. Are you getting me now? Hello?
Yes, teacher.
Am I clear now?
No, you're still breaking.
Okay. So let me try. I hope I'm clear now. You can tell me when I'm clear.
You're clear.
Okay. Now another question is, you talked of adding chemicals, harmless chemicals. So what is the use of chemical that is added in water? Gideon, what is the use of that chemical which is added in water? Gideon?
To kill germs.
Very good, to kill germs. So the chemical which is added in water, it kills germs. Can we name 4 chemicals that is used for treating water? Can we name 4 chemicals that is used for treating water? We are now summarizing. We are just trying to go through. So you can also be putting it in the chat. You can also be putting your responses, like Adam has said, iodine, correct. Alex has said chlorine, correct. So let's hear also from some few voices. John Bonson, can you give us other chemicals that is used for treating water? Some people have already mentioned, they have already mentioned chlorine, and they have already mentioned iodine. Can you give us another chemical?
Chloride.
Yes. Okay, we say calcium chloride. Very good. And lastly, we said, yes, girl.
Water guard.
We said water guard. Very good. Okay. Also, we looked at the disadvantages of using chemicals for treating water. Can you name some of the disadvantages? Can you name some of the disadvantages? Can you name some of the disadvantages of using chemicals for treating water? Yes. Can I have some people to name for me? Have some people to give me the disadvantages? 1, Fiona? Fiona?
Water becomes smelly.
Water becomes smelly. It makes water smelly. Amanda? Kasozi, Jordan?
It makes water tasty.
It makes water tasty. Very good. How about, yes?
Teacher, a question.
Yes, you can ask. You can ask.
Teacher,
Yes, please.
because do not make water clean and clear.
Change the nature of appearance of chemicals change the nature.
Ordinary water.
Oh, now there I cannot. So whoever has a question can send it on the chat. And some of you have been responding. So members, that is where we can end. But you, before we end, you can just give me maybe methods of water purification. Name 4 methods of water purification. Can we hear from Mark? Can we hear from Esther? Mark, Esther, Lina, can you give us 4 methods of water purification? Meanwhile, some of you can write it in the chat like David has passed it. Hector also has said screening. Jude has said, okay. So members, thank you so much for paying attention. I think we have come to the end of our lesson. We need to give time for other classes who are going to join in. Okay, let's give time for other. So all this work, you are going to find it in your Google Classroom. Okay, all this work you are going to find it in your Google Classroom, and you will be able to to write them. Otherwise, thank you so much. May God bless you all. Amen.
Bye, teacher.
Bye, teacher.
Bye, teacher.
Teacher.